Divergent thinking is a thought process used to generate creative ideas by exploring many possible solutions. It typically occurs in a spontaneous, free-flowing, non-linear manner, such that many ideas are generated in an emergent cognitive fashion. Many possible solutions are explored in a short amount of time, and unexpected connections are drawn. Welcome to Minds in Formation. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. The last episode was interesting if you didn't catch it. Interesting in many ways. First of all, it was an interesting conversation with my homeboy that I enjoyed having. But also interesting because it just so happened to get the most engagement out of anything I've put out under this current podcast banner. The clips were getting a little hot. It was kind of funny. On one hand, it was kind of cool in a way because, again, there was just more engagement, more views, and I'm just a dude talking to myself in my basement. So the fact that it was even getting into the thousands, I was like, oh, dang, that's kind of crazy. That's like a lot of people. If you imagine talking to a couple thousand people like you're in an auditorium, that's a lot of fucking people. But in internet terms of virality and things of that nature, it's laughably low. Besides the point, it was a lot for me. And there was a ton of comments, especially on one Instagram post. Man, they did not like that post. They really didn't like what Darius was saying, and I think they just thought we were a couple of bozos. And it's totally fine. It's like you can never let yourself get upset by that because people are just going to catch a clip. They're probably not going to follow up and listen to the entire conversation, so they're just going to take it in whatever context they want to take it in, make a decision, and then hit that keyboard, thumbs up blazing, dog, just, I'm going to light this motherfucker up. But it was about immigration, and yeah, people were going nuts. Hot topic, I do understand. It is a hot topic, right? We've been through both sides of the coin over the past few years in the United States. A couple years ago, it's like borders basically open. You remember seeing those videos and photos of trains like covered in people, like it's goddamn World War Z, rushing the border, being like, hey, fucking free entry, meal ticket, just go for it. They'll just let you walk in. And then they're busting people to all these cities all over the country and shit, and it was a wild time. And then things change, and the border completely shuts down. You got ICE running around the streets rounding these motherfuckers up. So, talk about a pendulum swing, right? So we don't really know how to handle immigration here in this nation. Like, we're not decided on what that should look like. I certainly have ideas on it. And like with most of my ideas, they're pretty straightforward, and I try to base them in logic, and I feel like a lot of people wouldn't actually disagree. But I think immigration, for people that you can at least do some sort of background check, make sure they have nothing crazy lurking in their past, and if maybe there's some method of proving that they have something to bring to the table, right? So you're trying to get the high quality people, right? You want the doctors and the engineers and the scientists, or just people that are going to work hard too. It's not all this white collar shit, or you don't have to just be importing geniuses. Good quality labor force, things of that nature. And for those candidates that meet the requirements and don't have any major skeletons in their closet, I feel like immigration should be a lot easier. Shouldn't take forever. You shouldn't have somebody that's had a green card for 15 years and they're like, I'm still trying to wait to get my citizenship. That's crazy. That's crazy when it goes down like that. It shouldn't be so incredibly difficult or just so drawn out. Like, we could make that a little more efficient. And I think at least some degree of asylum program is a good thing to have. We should be looking to help people. You have to be careful, though, because that shit can get out of control. Because then you look at what's going on in Europe, and it seems like some of their asylum programs and refugee populations are clashing with local populations. There's a lot of fucking gnarly shit going on. I'm sure folks have heard about the rape gang report in England or United Kingdom or whatever. I don't know if it's specific to one or the whole thing. Not good, dude. Really not good. I mean, there was this shit going on in Spain just a couple days ago, right? 60,000 something people from Morocco crossed over into Spanish territory. And again, looks like an invasion. It's wild. That territory is slightly different because it's not connected to mainland Spain. In case you just saw a clip or a headline and made a snap decision, that area, I don't know exactly how it's pronounced, Kuwaita or something, is connected to Morocco. It's in Africa. But it's like a Spanish territory. And it has been for quite a long time. I want to say like 400 years. Hot minute. Maybe even 500 years. I think it was a territory since 15 something. But, that's just one of those weird situations. It's almost like us with Puerto Rico. You're like, is it? Is it not? I don't really know. It's a territory. Somewhere in the middle. So that one's not cut and dry. But anyways, point being, there should be a proper way of doing immigration, and it shouldn't be so difficult to navigate, but you do have to have measures to keep the loons out. So, yeah. Shouldn't be that difficult, but it is. And that's government for you, baby. It's just something I think everybody has to understand. People want to collect more taxes and tax the rich or whatever. You want to give all your money to the government. Well, newsflash, buddy. The government sucks at doing things in an efficient manner. So if you didn't know that, it's totally true. So be careful what you wish for with wanting the government to be your fucking daddy. Because they'll probably do a bad job. That daddy's going to go get the milk, dog. He's going to leave you high and dry. But again, I think that makes sense as an immigration plan, right? Streamline it for the good, keep out the bad. Point blank, pretty much. And when it comes to like the whole refugee thing, maybe that's where you can try to get programs to help those nations so people aren't becoming refugees. And then so much of, the European situation, is that United States' fault? Maybe started all these wars in the Middle East and now there is a whole bunch of fucking refugees. Would they have been there anyways? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball for you, but you get the point. It's complicated. Very, very complicated. But going back to last week's episode, we're kind of talking about this, and my buddy Darius, he had a point. Like I knew what his point was, but he did use the wrong word, I think. I think what he was trying to say was essentially, as a nation founded by immigrants, who are we to be judging future immigrants type thing? It's like kind of one of those just funny situations. It's like once upon a time, people were just showing up here and being like, this is my farm now. And you fast forward a little bit and that's no longer allowed. Okay, it makes sense, right? You establish a nation and a government and, oh, by the way, it becomes the most powerful nation on the planet. So you no longer just allow people to flow freely. But it's still an interesting point, It's something to think about. And that is the whole point of this podcast. I tried to say that once or twice when people initially started commenting on that clip and then quickly gave up. I'm like, oh, okay, this is ridiculous. I'll just let all these people throw these wild comments around and I'll just thumbs up all of them. They're like, all right, sweet, thanks for stopping by. But, yeah, it's kind of wild. He had a point, but it doesn't really matter. Again, people are going to check out the clips and they're not going to listen to the full episode because the whole point of this podcast is to explore ideas. Might make me sound slightly hypocritical right now because I was just laying out my immigration plan, right? But in general, I try to avoid like hard and fast opinions on a subject or giving somebody a hot take or trying to give life advice, things of that nature. I mean, I don't claim to be an expert on almost anything. I might have some limited number of things. I have ideas on them, and maybe those ideas are of a high quality or maybe they're of a low quality, and I suppose that's on you to decide. But in general, I'm not trying to tell people how to think or what to do or even really give a strong opinion on something. I like to explore ideas, and many times I take the opposite side of that coin on anything, on fill in the blank. I do it to my wife all the time, and sometimes it drives her nuts, but it ends up being pretty helpful because there's always a different side to the coin in almost everything. There's only a couple hard and fast rules. It's like essentially do no harm. Don't murder, don't rape, don't abuse children. But for a lot of other situations, probably most other situations outside of something hard and fast like that, there's going to be a flip side. And you'd be like, well, think about it from the other person's perspective. And again, to go back to immigration, that's kind of one of those things that you can understand. It's easy to sit, over in Missouri in your rocking chair and being like, I don't want none of those motherfuckers coming across the border. And I get it. I understand that. But I can also understand if I'm growing up, maybe I have a family and I'm living in gang-infested region of Mexico that's controlled by the Sinaloa cartel or whatever, just picture like a shitty situation. You can't make any money. It's super dangerous. It fucking sucks. You have a baby and you're like, I got to get the fuck out of here. And I'll do anything to try to give my family a better chance. So you look into every possible option and you find a way to get to the border and you say, dude, let's just fucking go for it. We don't know what's going to happen, but anything's better than where we were at. And unless you're a fucking monster, I think you can empathize with that. Now, I can still understand being like, that's not my fucking problem. And you're totally justified with having, your own opinion. Again, I'm not telling nobody how to think. But there's always a flip side. Now, how that should all be navigated, fucking, I don't know, dude. But the whole point being, it's interesting and I think healthy to examine any problem from as many angles as you possibly can, because it's going to help you build the strongest opinion. It's easy to just parrot something, just be like, I'm in this camp, or this is what my buddy said, and yeah, that's my opinion now too, and I'm just going to say it, and pop, 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 you just go for it. It's a lot more difficult to sit back and play with a problem, so to speak, bounce it from your mental left to right hand like a ball of clay, reshaping it and seeing what it can actually turn out to be. That's more difficult and takes a certain amount of intention. But it's probably good to do. You don't have to do it with everything, right? But it's probably good to do that from time to time, especially if there is something that you find of interest or even a hot button thing. Like think about it from all angles as much as you can. But yeah, man, it was interesting. Just seeing everybody go nuts in the comments. It was kind of fun to watch, though. I'm not really attention seeking by making this podcast and putting the clips out, but I am all about initiating conversation and building community. That's just something that I do. I've done it for a while and I like doing it. And I think it's good, especially in this day and age where community is something that has been rattled a bit by technology. It's very easy to stay in your bubble, and even though you might have a lot of stuff going on online, it's still easy to be kind of pretty isolated. Live in your bubble, watch Netflix, doom scroll, do whatever you do, play video games, and maybe you interact with the community from time to time, or maybe you don't. A lot of people that look like hermits, bro. You can see them out in the wild, and they got headphones on, get in their car, get out, put their headphones on, scurry inside their house. I don't want to talk to anybody. Strange. So, community is important to me. I think it's probably going to be increasingly important as technology just keeps going crazier and crazier. Might even be a whole new market that'll open up. Scheduling face-to-face things. Who knows? I've already done it in the past. I ran a pretty successful meetup group for about 3 years and was super consistent, hosted events pretty much every week. And it'd be all kinds of things. It'd be like going to karaoke or a trivia night or a happy hour or a hike or things of that nature. Just go hang out with whoever for a couple hours. And anybody can show up. It's open, right? And just show up and go for it. Have a good time. See if you can make a friend. And I really enjoyed that. And again, it's something that I started to realize that I think this is important and it's going to become more important because it's just not as common now. Yep. I said, technology has a lot to do with it, but you know what else I think has a lot to do with it is, and for better or worse, but I'm just saying it's just a fact of the matter, is that people are much less religious now. And I think when people were more religious, that would have kind of been your automatic community. You'd see those people all the time. You believe the same thing. You pray and worship together. And next thing you know, you're having potlucks and social night and whatever. So that probably supplied a significant amount of community for people. And it's not as common now. So you put those two things together and here you go. But I started to realize this. And I'm like, okay, dude, this is important. And it became painfully clear that I was right. It is important because people would show up. And two real big things that I noticed. Some folks need a little bit of help in this area, if we're just being frank. And, not to make anybody feel bad or anything like that, but met some real awkward motherfuckers, dude. And you can just, social skills are bad. And they would need a little bit of extra help. I'm a pretty patient guy, so maybe I was the right man for the job, and I'm good at helping people navigate those situations. Because the other thing I noticed was people were super thankful frequently. Not something I looked for or was trying to stroke my ego by or anything like that. It just happened. So that was the other light bulb. This is important, because otherwise somebody's not going to take the time to go off to the side and be like, dude, that was so much fun. Thank you so much for doing this. It really means a lot to me. People don't talk like that to each other just in their day-to-day, right? So it's obviously important. But I ran that puppy for a hot minute, and I burned myself out a little bit. And in true Matt fashion, just exploded the whole thing and abandoned the entire project instead of just putting it off to the side and taking a break or letting it cool off. I'm like, nope, done, delete everything. Same thing I did when I had a podcast before and it was going in a direction that I didn't really like that much. I was like, instead of just letting it cool off, I'm like, nah, fuck that, delete it. Delete every episode. Nobody will ever hear this again. That's how I go. I probably should work on that. That's probably a flaw. But yeah, went through the motions with the meetup thing. It's been maybe about a year-ish, something like that. Maybe a year and a half. I can't remember for sure since I ran that group. But it started popping in my mind more and more of late. So I started it up again, but on a different platform. So there's another competitor, so to speak, to Meetup called Heylo, Heylo. And it's basically the same thing. It's really close. It's got a pretty good interface on both app and PC. Less buggy, I feel like, than Meetup. Meetup felt really clunky, but really one of the downfalls with Meetup was it just started to feel like they were just trying to suck money out of you. To be an organizer, so just to start a group, and you don't get anything for this unless you try to charge people, and then it usually doesn't you don't get a lot of engagement. So you're running events for free. Nobody's helping you or giving you anything. You have to take the time out of your day to plan it and figure it out, blah, blah, blah. And the annual fee for being an organizer is something like $400 or $500 a year to host events that you don't get anything for. That seems insane. What app costs that much? Unless you're talking like you're buying a fuckload of AI credits, or you have some type of professional business suite or something like that. What other app costs that much? I can't think of anything, literally nothing, that would charge you $400 to $500 a year just to use it. So fucking red flag, dude. Fuck that. And then they started pinging the members to upgrade to Meetup Plus. So they basically took a bunch of features away, and then we're trying to force people to pay extra to get those features back. And what I heard, I should have looked this up beforehand so I could give like the most accurate information. But what I heard was some company bought them out along with a bunch of other kind of legacy softwares and applications. I believe Evernote was mentioned as another one. And essentially, I think they're just trying to squeeze what they can out of some of these legacy platforms. And then if that doesn't work, they'll just abandon it. So give a quick Goog on that situation if you want to learn more, but it's something along that nature. So I'll swap to this other app because it doesn't have any of that shit. It's free for everybody. It's pretty seamless. And probably go about it a little bit differently because it doesn't have the same user base, so there's not as many people on it. So it'll grow a lot slower and probably more organically. So we'll see how it all shapes out. Probably we'll keep it somewhat low key here initially, once or twice a month, and just go to a happy hour or a trivia or something that, essentially I don't have to do a lot of work to figure out, because I was shaking and baking before and I don't want to just, repeat the same cycle. But I kind of miss doing it. I'm pretty social. I don't like to get out and talk to people, and I'm not super passionate about my career. Like I like it, it's fine, but it doesn't provide me like meaning or purpose. So I have to look for that sort of thing in my personal life. Because even when I was active duty military, I got a lot of times I felt the same way, unless I was just really in the thick of it. But I was just like, dude, it's just a job. I don't live and breathe this shit. I go to work and I go home, and then I go back to my real life. And that's how I've kind of always felt about that sort of situation. And I still do. My real life is outside of those buildings. Inside, I put on a mask, and, that's the different person you're getting. And often the reduced version, because I'm super chill and kind of do my own thing at work, and a lot of times not that social. Because I don't want to talk about work shit or people's old war stories or whatever. About this one time that you fixed an antenna, I'm like, I don't care, dude. I'm sorry. I don't want to be a dick, but I don't give a fuck. So we do it in our personal time. So I look for that thing outside of work. That's why I do this show. That's why I build community. That's why I try to be a hands-on family man as much as possible. A little more difficult with later teenagers because they're off doing their own thing. But if all goes according to plan, I have a little baby running around here in a little bit. So see how that goes, doggy. But anyways, in case there's any locals listening to the show, I'll drop a link to that community group in case you want to join. Come check it out. Like I said, super low key, but you might make a new homeboy, make a new connection, whatever. You never know. I always say, your dream partner, your new best friend, your next amazing opportunity that you would have never expected is not going to just knock on your front door. So if you're not out there shaking and baking, at least to a certain degree, then those connections will never happen. It's just a fact of the matter, my dudes. But yeah, I'll throw I'll throw the link in there. So if you are local to Colorado Springs, feel free to come check it out and do a little hike. Come grab a beer, whatever. It's a good time. But in the meantime, y'all take care of yourself. Be easy. Oh, and don't forget to buy as many shares of SpaceX as you possibly can, because it's the only company that's actually going to the moon. All right, we'll see you next time with a guest. Bye. Thanks for listening, everyone. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the show out. See you next time.